Hello and welcome back to another video. This video is IGCSE Chemistry Paper 2 calculation questions. Since Paper 2 is right around the corner, this video will provide you a quick revision for the important calculations that are going to help you. One thing to remember is that all questions carry equal marks. So if you are stuck with a question, or if you notice that a question is really long, try to solve other questions first and then come back to it in the end. And if you don't get the answer at all, put a random answer because it might be correct. Okay, so the first question says that the concentration of a solution of aqueous sodium hydroxide is 0.5 mole decimeter cube. Which mass of sodium hydroxide is used to make 500 centimeter cube of this solution? So you have the concentration and you have the volume, but you don't have the mass. Remember, concentration equals to moles divided by volume, and moles equals to mass over mr, right? So you can just replace this moles with mass over mr multiplied by volume. Let's replace these numbers. Mass is what you need to find, so all of this is going to move on the other side. This is going to be concentration multiplied by mr multiplied by the volume equals to the mass. Okay, so the concentration is 0.5, and then mr, you can find this from the periodic table. This is like add the ars or the masses of sodium and then oxygen and then hydrogen, add them together. This is going to be approximately 40 multiplied by the volume, that is 500. Notice this is in centimeter cube, so you have to convert this in decimeter cube. Okay, divide this by 1000 and the answer is going to be 10 grams. So it's 9 is A. Moving on, calcium carbonate reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid. The equation is shown. 1 gram of calcium carbonate is added to 50 centimeter cube of 0.5 mole decimeter cube of hydrochloric acid. Which volume of carbon dioxide is made in this reaction? Okay, so now they have given you the mass of calcium carbonate, and they've also given you some volume and concentration of hydrochloric acid. Now using these, you can find the moles of hydrochloric acid and the moles of calcium carbonate. Now this is the question for limiting reagent, because if the limiting factor is going to affect the volume of carbon dioxide produced. So first of all, let's just find the moles of both of these substances. Okay, so this is how we're going to find the moles. Moles for calcium carbonate is going to be mass divided by mr. Mass is 1 gram divided by mr from the periodic table. This is going to be 9.99 times 10 power negative 3. On the other side, we found the moles for hydrochloric acid. The formula is concentration into volume. Concentration is 0.05 multiplied by volume. Convert centimeter cube into decimeter cube. The answer is this. Now we're going to, using the ratio method, we're going to find which of them is going to produce the smallest amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, so you have CaCO3 and carbon dioxide. So the ratio is 1:1, and then that's going to be 9.99 times 10 power negative 3, and then 2.5 times 10 power negative 3. Now we can't use that directly. First we have to compare how much moles are we getting if we're using hydrochloric acid as a limiting reagent. Hydrochloric acid to carbon dioxide, the ratio is 2:1, because you can see you have 2 here and here you have 1. So this is going to be 2:1, and then this is going to be 2.5 times 10 power negative 3 to x. Cross multiply. X is going to be 2.5 times 10 power negative 3. Divide this by 2. This is going to be 1.25 times 10 power negative 4. Times 10 power negative 3 actually. So you can see when you're considering hydrochloric acid, you're getting a smaller amount of moles compared to calcium carbonate. Okay, so we'll take this moles, and then using that we can find the volume of carbon dioxide produced. Moles equals to volume divided by 24, and then volume is simply moles into 24. Moles is 1.25 times 10 power negative 3. Multiply this by 24, and the answer is going to be 0.03. Now this is in decimeter cube, so if you just multiply this by 1000, you're gonna get 30 centimeter. No need to do that right now, because you can obviously see none of them have like 0. They're not 0.03. Only this would be 30 centimeter cube. The equation for the reaction of magnesium with dilute sulfuric acid is shown. The MR of magnesium sulfate is 120 grams. So they give you the MR for magnesium sulfate. Which mass of magnesium sulfate is formed when 12 grams of magnesium completely reacts with dilute sulfuric acid? Okay, so first, what they're asking you for is to find the mass of magnesium sulfate. To do that, we can find the mass of magnesium. Remember, we can find the moles of magnesium. Moles equals to mass over MR. The mass is 12 grams divided by the MR of magnesium from the periodic table is 24.31. This is going to give you 0.49 moles. Now we can do the ratio method to find the moles for magnesium sulfate. That is going to be same, because magnesium to magnesium sulfate, you don't have to write this down, you can do this mentally, but I'll just write down the steps 1 to 1. So this is 0.49, and then this is also going to be 0.49 moles because the ratio is same, right? So now we can we just found the moles of magnesium sulfate. We can find the mass. Now mass is going to be, move this MR on the other side, it's going to be moles into MR. So mass is going to be moles times MR. Moles is 0.49 and the mass is given as 120. So this is going to be approximately 60 grams. The answer is C. Okay, next, an organic compound Q contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. Q contains 40% carbon and 6.7% hydrogen by mass. Find the empirical formula of Q. So in order to find the empirical formula, this is the steps we're going to follow. Q has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Remember the formula, moles equals to mass divided by MR. We don't have the mass, but we do have the percentage composition by mass. So we're going to use these percentages. This is going to be 40. Hydrogen is 6.7, and then in order to find for oxygen, we're just going to subtract it from 100. Okay, so basically 40 plus 6.7 plus x equals to 100. We can just find the remaining one. Basically 100 minus 40 plus 6.7, this is going to be 53.3. So 53.3 percentage. Divide this by MR, 12, 1 and 16. Calculate this now. You'll get 3.33, 6.7 and 3.33. So now the key here is that you're going to divide by the smaller number. Try to do that when you get a confusing number like this. Divide this by 3.33. You will get 1 here, and this one would be almost 2. So it's C is 1, H is 2 and O is 1. That would be B. Moving on. The value of Avogadro's constant is 6.02 times 10 power 23. What is the total number of atoms in 2 moles of ammonia gas? Okay, so that means in 1 mole, you have 6.02 times 10 power 23. And then in 2 moles, how many particles are you going to have? How many? Look, this is ammonia gas, right? So you're getting the molecules of ammonia. So we're going to multiply them. This is going to be x equals 2 times 6.02 times 10 power 23. That would be 12.04 times 10 power 23. So this is going to give you the molecules of ammonia, okay? NH3. So we have 12.04 times 10 power 3 molecules of ammonia, but notice that they're asking you for the number of atoms. So in one molecule you have 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogen, so you have 4 atoms in total. Therefore you have to multiply this number by 4, and then the answer would be approximately 4.82 times 10 power 24. So you have 4.82 times 10 power 24 atoms in 2 mole of ammonia gas. Next, the equation for complete combustion of methane is shown. Methane plus oxygen produces carbon dioxide and 2 water molecules. The table shows some bond energies. What is the enthalpy change for this reaction? So for this reaction, delta H is going to be the energy of bonds broken minus the energy of bonds formed. We have to basically subtract the energy for the bonds broken minus the energy for the bonds formed. So I've shown this here. These are the products. You have 2 carbon dioxide and 2 water molecules. The bonds for carbon dioxide is CO and CO. You have 805, and you have 2 of these, so I'm going to write 2. Plus you have 2 water molecules. So this is how a water molecule is. You have 460 and 460, so you have two of these, but then you also have two whole water molecules, so you have to multiply this by 2. You have 4 OH bonds, and then this is going to give you 3450 kilojoules. On the other hand, this is for the reactants. You have methane, CH4, and 2 oxygen molecules, so you have 4 CH bonds, 4 into 410, plus you have 2 of oxygen, and oxygen is O double bond O, 496. This will give you 2632. Now this is going to be bonds broken minus bonds formed. So this methane bonds are broken and this oxygen bonds are broken, so this is going to be 2632 minus the bonds formed. These are the new bonds that are being formed. You're getting carbon dioxide and water, so this is going to be 3450. So the answer is going to be negative 1818 kilojoules per mole, that is 2. Remember, in combustion, energy is released, so automatically you can say it's going to be give you a negative answer. It's not taking in energy. Next question, an experiment to find out the percentage of oxygen in 150 centimeter cube of polluted air is shown. So this is the 150 centimeter cube of air. You need to find the percentage of oxygen. The apparatus is left for 1 week. After this time, the volume of gas in the measuring cylinder is 122 centimeter cube. What is the percentage of oxygen to the nearest whole number? So initially it was 150 centimeter cube, and then after some time it reduced to 122 centimeter cube. So that means 28 centimeter cube. What does this suggest? Look, if you notice, you have a damp iron wool, so this is going to rust and it's going to take in the oxygen. So out of 150 centimeter cube, 28 centimeter cube was oxygen. So let's convert this into percentage. 150 centimeter cube is the total volume, that is 100%. And then out of that, 28 centimeter cube was oxygen, so you need to find the ratio. X is going to be 100 into 28 divided by 150. So this is almost 18.67. So you have to round this to the nearest whole number, that is going to be 19%. Moving on, solid X is heated for 600 seconds. The graph shows the heating curve that is obtained over here. What is the melting point of X? Okay. So initially you have a solid X and you're heating it. As you're heating it, the temperature is increasing, so that means the state is not changing over there. That is not the melting point until you reach this point. After that, the temperature remains constant, so at that point the solid is melting. The melting point is the start over here. So if you find this is going to be 170 degrees Celsius. Alright, next, 2 experiments involving acids R or S are done. 0.1 mole of acid R completely dissolves in 500 centimeter cube of water. 0.048 moles of acid dissociated in the solution. Next, 0.01 mole of acid S completely dissolved in 500 centimeter cubes of water, and 0.0179 moles of acid S is dissociated in the solution. What statement about acid R and acid S is correct? Okay, so in order to find which one of these are a strong and weak acid, we can find the fraction dissociated alpha. Fraction dissociated equals to moles dissociated divided by the total moles. If this value equals to 1, it's a strong acid. Otherwise, it's a weak acid. So for acid R, it's going to be dissociated is 0.048 divided by total moles, which is 0.1. This is going to be 0.048. On the other side, we have S. For that, it's going to be 0.0179 divided by the total mole, which is 0.1. This is 0.179. So if you notice, since these are much smaller than 1, they are both weak acids. Therefore, the answer is going to be D. If this number was 1, that would be considered as a strong acid, but this is not the case here. Okay, this next question is about the equation for complete combustion of ethane is shown. The bond energies are listed. You have to find the enthalpy change of reaction when 1 mole of ethane is completely burned. Okay, notice this one is very similar to the question that we did above. So I want you to practice this on your own and comment down the answer below. And notice this keyword, this is for 1 mole of ethyne and you have 2 moles of ethyne, okay? So remember that. The answer, I'm also going to give you guys the answer. That is going to be question number B. Option number B. Next question, the average bond energy of CH bond is 413 kilojoules per mole. What is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of methane molecules? So methane is CH4, you have 4 of these. So what is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of ethane molecule is formed from carbon and hydrogen atoms? You have 413 and you have 4 of these. You're going to multiply 413 into 4. This will be 1652. Remember, if you want to break a bond, energy is taken in. So bonds broken, that would be a positive change. But here, since bonds are formed, we are forming methane. This is going to give you a negative change because energy is released. Energy released, that means it's going to be negative when bonds are formed. So the answer would be A. Moving on, the only naturally occurring isotopes in the sample of europium are EU151 and EU153. This sample of europium has a relative atomic mass of AR152. What is the percentage of EU151 present in the sample to 3 significant figures? So in order to solve this question, we can apply a little bit of logic. So they're saying that we have a sample, and in this sample, we have EU151 and we have EU153. So we have multiple of these elements, obviously. And then they're saying when you find the average AR is 152, which is in the exact center between both of them. That means the amount of elements that have the mass of 151 is equal to the amount of mass that we have for 153. Both of them have equal weightage, so we can just divide this by 2. 50% of the sample is 151 and 50% of the sample is 153. That is why the average mass is in the exact center, 152. So that is going to be 50%. And that's all.